Welcome to the Conscious Living Podcast, conversations to educate, empower, and enlighten our world. An uplifting and inspiring series of conversations and talks with your host, Jackie Woodside. We are educating minds, empowering lives, and enlightening souls to create a world where love prevails. In this engaging podcast, we deliver exciting, positive, transformative talks and teachings designed to elevate your life. Now, let's join our host, Jackie Woodside, for this week's session.
Hello there. Thank you so much for being here again for another episode of the Conscious Living Podcast, where we are here to educate, empower, and enlighten our world. I'm Jackie Woodside, still your host and the founder of the Conscious Living Podcast. Thank you for being one of those people that cares about waking up, that cares about creating a more conscious, more engaged, more hospitable and loving world. That's my commission, my commitment, and my mission, or my commission, if you want to say it that way, in life, is to be one of those players, a torchbearer for a vision of a world transformed, creating a world where love prevails. And we have to do that in every way, in business, in our relationships, in our health and well-being, with our money, how we choose to spend our money, with our conversations, our politics, our community, in every single way, being conscious, being awake. So today I am bringing to the floor 3 colleagues from New Zealand. How cool is that? I told them I want to go over there and have lunch and tea with them because it's such a cool country. 3 extraordinary entrepreneurs called the 90-Day Divas. How cool is that? First of all, I think it's really awesome to interview 3 people on our podcast today, not just one. But the 90-Day Divas are Jennifer Myers, Reid, and Lucia Fritsche. And together, these 3 powerhouses have over 45 years of entrepreneurial experience. They bring together their unique skill set in one spot for their clients, and they say 3 heads are better than 1. So they've walked on coals, shared the stage with prime ministers, published, worked alongside pop stars, and shifted halfway around the globe somewhat unseen. So they have a very unique approach to business, to consciousness, and to life. So I'm so excited. Jen and Lucy and Carol, welcome to the Conscious Living Podcast. If you don't mind, just take a minute, each of you say hello and a little bit about yourselves, and we'll dive into the show.
Right. Hello there. So I'm Jen Myers. I'm the American expat of the trio. So I moved over to New Zealand, over a decade ago now. And it's just been a fantastic move. And the reason we did it was to, in effect, become more conscious and take more control over our lives as a family. And so I've been a certified leadership and business coach for over a decade, and I really specialize in the leadership communication space.
Beautiful. Love that. And I love that you guys are expats and made that decision consciously to think about what cultural context you wanted your kids to be raised in. I really admire that. So awesome. Lucy or Carol, you guys want to say hello?
Yeah, well, hello everyone. My name's Lucy, and I've I guess also shifted a few times in my life, different countries. I was brought up in Switzerland and New Zealand, so I've always had the 2 countries in my life. And I guess that was also a conscious decision of mine to say I'm going to start my own business to be able to be location independent and to serve people all around the world. So I'm in marketing, and I've been in marketing also over a decade ago. And I love working on the online presence of businesses, and I love being part of the 90-Day Divas.
So great. And Carol, say hello.
Hi everyone. I'm Carol Reid, and I'm the Kiwi. So we've got an America Kiwi, and we've got Swiss. So we're sort of, we're okay there. And then, we've got this Kiwi that's the one in the trio. So I work with people on how they want to feel. So I had a bit of a near-death experience 13 years ago, and that really shifted my path. And my background is marketing and public relations, and I've worked in the corporate space and all that sort of stuff for a number of years. And when I had this sort of shift, it made me realize that there is more to life than what we see in the 3D, and really that being awake is what our state needs to be. So I'm really happy to be here and happy to chat. And of course, the Divas, the 3 of us, all are aligned in our thinking as well. So it's wonderful to be here.
Yeah. So how did you guys, I'm just so curious about how you came together. And so how did you guys meet and decide to form a collaborative or a company together, right? You have it's not just, you don't just collaborate, you are a company. Yeah. So how did you come upon each other and decide that you were going to form a company?
Well, it was all
Lucy,
Lucy's.
do you want to tell a story? Yeah.
It's all Lucy. Okay, Lucy.
So yeah, basically it was also all COVID's fault, or what do you want to say? So it was we were all forced to stay at home and started to network online. And that was when I met Jen, and we were in this crowd, and we somehow noticed that we had similar beliefs, and we're like, hey, we need to chat after this, and we did. And totally noticed that we had the same mission and vision, that we wanted to really make a big change and impact in today's world, and not just have a business that we have a business. It's really to make this change. Mm-hmm. And Carol, I knew Carol as well. So then it was like, well, why don't we just collaborate, the three of us, and really bring all our expertise together, because we all have a different expertise, and it really works greatly. And it is really like making that change in today's world and having an impact that people can start, being awake and realizing there is more there.
That's so, it sounds like what we say in the unity spiritual movement. It sounds like divine order.
100%.
All of the random things that brought you guys together, and what a great match it is as you serve your clients. That's awesome. Now, the next thing I'm curious about is your name. What does the 90-Day Divas mean as your corporate identity?
Well, I think it was me that I always wanted to be a diva. Why not?
To be a diva. Okay.
Yeah, because why not? Have what you want to have, and I think the Urban Dictionary, suggests that the definition of a diva is, someone who owns her stuff, and comes at it with a bit of swagger, and and people respect that, and they want to be part of that swagger. So yeah, that's kind of where I was coming from, was why not step a bit into our own power, and then help. By that, shining our light, help others to shine theirs. And so then we worked out, well, actually, in 90 days, we could make quite a significant difference for people, in their lives. So then we wrapped it all up, and thought, this sounds good. It feels good. It feels like the right wording, and away we went, didn't we, ladies?
Absolutely. So our flagship program is called the 90-Day Business Blueprint. And it's really kind of geared towards helping someone who's kind of got a vague idea of what they want to do, but they don't really know what it is, but they know they want to be entrepreneurial. We kind of help take them from woe to go with a really good, strong foundation in 90 days, so they can get that first client over the line in that time.
That's fantastic. So you were working with people who are starting up their business to take them from concept to inception.
Largely, yes. We can and do help people who have kind of had a business that's gone stale, and they kind of fallen out of love with it. To get back to basics, and re-explore that why and that purpose, and get back in touch with some of that.
Nice. Yeah, I'm working with a company right now as a consultant to their C-suite, and we're doing a series of 90-day sprints, because there's so much infrastructure they need to do, and we're setting goals, holding each other accountable, putting all the room was filled with the papers on the wall, the big placard papers. Of all of the things that we're working on, and I typed it up into a document, and we've got this 3-month 90-day sprint going on. I just met with them this morning, and they're doing it. I like that. There's something really powerful about that laser focus. It's hard to accomplish big things in a week or a month, and even a year, quite honestly. I'm sure you guys know that. But the power of focus, and what our mind, our energy, our consciousness can do when we go from, maybe being a spotlight over anywhere on the field to just that laser that can cut through steel. It's really amazing. So tell me a little bit about that, and that, how you came upon the 3-month time frame, and does consciousness relate to that in any way?
Well, I think there's quite a bit, research out there as well, because, we are a bit researching as well. We like to understand, the nature of the science of things as well. And there's quite a bit of research out there around annual planning being, often, the horse is bolted. We're often looking at the annual plan, and checking back in after the fact. So, you get a bit more control in 90 days, like you say, you get that chance to focus. but you also get that ability to be able to adjust. And so that adjustment really, is the game changer, because, that tiny little millimeter that you make a tiny shift can take you in a completely different direction in a year's time. And so that's why, you want to be able to go, okay, I've got this 3 month, sure, you've got your bigger goals, but, you've got this 3 month focus where you're checking in and measuring and checking in and measuring. And then, okay, great, now we can carry on, or we can change direction, or we can change, a little bit to get where we want to get to. So it doesn't mean that you don't have the annual planning and that you don't check back in there, but, you've just got that bit more control, I think.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's digestible.
I'm sorry,
Sorry, it's digestible for people too. It's a manageable time frame for them to wrap their heads around, instead of, okay, I've got this annual plan and it's a bit overwhelming. It's a great way, as they say, to chunk it down and bring it back to, okay, what are we going to do week 1, week 2? Yeah.
And we've also divided it into like 6 different topics that we go through. So that's also not too overwhelming. And then you got like bite sizes. That's how we sort of like to see it. And then every other week, you can say every other week I'll have a new topic. And then, of course, we come together every week to keep you accountable and to work on it and see how the integration's going. Do you need any support, help? And to really, we're a lot about accountability and really show you, coach you and be there along the way, because that's what we see and hear a lot with the business owners. We've got these big goals, but then we sort of start and we get lost, and we and that's
6 topics.
Very human.
Sounds like a lot to me. So I'm curious, what are the 6 different areas that you work with your clients on?
So we've got mindset. Yeah, the first one is mindset. The second one goes through your message and marketing. So really, it's dialing down into who are you going to serve? Who's your ideal client avatar? The third one is your product and pricing. So what problem are you going to solve? How are you going to solve the problem for your target market? And the next one is your sales process. So creating a really basic, how do I introduce myself? How do I introduce the benefits of what I bring to the table? And then the last topic, actually, there's 5 topics because the 6th one is celebration, but the 5th topic is systems and processes, technology. How can you leverage technology to save time, to be more effective with what you need to do in your business? Because many of the people we work with, obviously, if they're starting off, don't have a team. So,
Yeah, that's so cool. That is like a masterclass on how to start a business right there. So you guys really have it dialed in. That's really awesome. And Carol, going back to what you said, I'm curious what the science says about the 3-month sprint versus the annual plan. Could you say a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah. So realistically, when we set out to achieve something, we may not always know all the pieces that go into that. And so part of the science comes back to say, well, actually, it's that measurement piece, really. How are we measuring it? And how are we taking the steps that we need to take to be able to change up? And so that's the piece that comes back out of it, is that actually, when we look at it, we still want to have our annual plans, but the science tells us that, and you just look across what people can achieve in the time that they're even on the earth. 80 years is kind of our sort of, benchmark, if you like. And when we look at that, even we can see that the science tells us, well, we have, specific kind of quarters, I guess, through our year, periods in our life, the first 30 years, 60, 90, so it's the same type of thing. It all feeds back into that understanding, of how we roll on the earth, really. And so we're sort of really being in alignment with that.
So great. I love that. Again, I think you guys are doing such a masterclass in helping people get off the ground. I know so many people want to move into entrepreneurship, but really just don't have the first clue of how to make that happen. And you guys are really providing that blueprint. It's really awesome. Of course, my personal love is mindset and consciousness. So I'm curious, your mindset piece, I noticed you said that first. Really, I love that. It wasn't an afterthought for the 90-Day Divas. So do you mind sharing with me, do you have pillars or certain areas of mindset? What's your mindset work? Can you talk about that and then how that relates to business success?
Cool. Well, that's the kind of area where I specialize in. And one of the things around that is to really get people thinking about their entrepreneurial mindset versus their employee mindset. Because when they're coming from that space, there is quite a difference. And certainly for myself, coming from corporate and going into, building a business over 20 years ago, there was a real, if I'd had me 20 years ago, I would have been, even further along.
Life so much easier. Carol, do you mind if I interject there? Because I think I just had a coaching call about this today with one of my clients about the difference between entrepreneurial mindset and employee mindset. You mind just unpacking that a little bit? Or any of you, and Jen, Lucy, any of you?
Yeah.
Lucy, you're one of those who have more recently jumped out of a corporate.
Yeah, totally.
Because you're a bit younger, yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess the employee mindset is really you do what you're told to do. You follow the leader basically.
Yeah.
You don't question anything. You go into your meetings, you go 9 to 5, and then you have your weekend, and you can't wait for the weekend to come. And I guess the entrepreneurial mindset goes a bit more into, we want to make an impact. We want to change something. I feel like there's more out there that I want to do. We are more the leaders. We want to show that you can actually do it yourself, or you can walk the way you want to go and take those steps. It is very, I guess, also empowering. You want to empower other people to do the same and to show that you can do that.
Yeah.
Of course, it's also a lot of work. I don't like saying hard work because it is a lot of work and time, effort that goes into it. But you can also see, it has a real positive impact.
Yeah. Well, one of the differences of being an entrepreneur instead of an employee is that there are no weekends.
Yeah. But also the Mondays, I don't care if a Monday comes by or if it's a Friday. I'm excited either way. And I find that is a massive shift. I don't need to be in Sunday night thinking, oh, no, I need to go to work on Monday.
Right. It is very, very different when you're kind of making your own hours and plugging in when you can. And yeah, I mean, I know at least for me, but I didn't have the 90-day Divas. But certainly when I went into full-time entrepreneurship, it was just, you could work any portion or every portion of that 24 hours that you have ahead of you because getting things off the ground. Neurologically, I think one of the things between the entrepreneur mindset and the employee mindset that I think a lot of people underestimate is when you're an employee, you just have to plug into something that's already there for you. The structure is made. You're told what hours to have. In some places, you're told when to go have your lunch. You're told what meetings to attend and what to be working on. You're kind of given your goals for the year. There's a strategic plan so you really don't have to think much. I mean, yes, of course, there's thought work that's in producing the work that you produce, but you don't have to generate the work. And the entrepreneurial mindset is there's no structure.
This can be.
It could be devastating for some people who don't have the neurological capacity to self-organize and self-initiate. So I always do like to highlight that when I'm talking about the entrepreneurial mindset. I think it's one of the things that a lot of people underestimate. Jen, were you going to hop on that?
One of the things, that I work heavily with in my work is the DISC behavioral profile. So love DISC, and we bring that into our work with the Divas, and we share that with our clients. And there is a certain particular profile, which is really geared towards being told what to do and working within structure. And that's kind of their sweet spot. To bring them out of that situation and ask them to create is terrifying. It's probably one of the things that they find to be most difficult, which is, yes. So even in that sense, we do bring that into our discussion with some clients. If this is going to be harder for some of you than others.
Yeah, I think it's something that a lot of people really don't recognize, and that there is a neurological profile for it. Some people are more geared toward unstructured creativity, and other people just want to plug in, and go to work.
And I think it doesn't necessarily limit you, because as you know, we can change that neuro programming. We can change the way those neurons fire and wire and all that sort of stuff. So, it's really about having a growth versus fixed mindset. It is about having that opportunistic way of being able to say, okay, where are the opportunities for me sitting here? And you do have to consciously do that, and you have to continually do that. And that is a piece as well that can fall over for people, because they're like, well, I've started this thing, I've built it, and I want them to come. It's not quite like the Field of Dreams.
Right. I had a friend of mine starting a coaching business a while ago, she called me up and she was really frustrated. And I said, well, what kind of marketing plan do you have? What are you doing for marketing? And she's like, well, I did a couple of Facebook posts and people were really supportive. And I literally felt bad, but I laughed. I was like, but just had no clue what it really takes to start a business. Yeah. So I'm glad you guys are there for people like that. It's so important. So let's dive back in. What are the other pieces of mindset? We got distracted. I got distracted chasing that squirrel of the entrepreneurial mindset. But Carol, dive back in with us there. What else do you work on?
So we talk about owner versus operator as well. So we're looking at, what does it take to be, an owner versus the doing. So what can we delegate, those pieces as well. So understanding that bigger picture piece. I talk quite a bit about happiness and about, checking in on that because I'm a certified happiness coach as well. So that piece of it's very important as well, that to attract and engage with the type of audience you want to work with, then you don't want to be someone that no one wants to be attracted to at the end of the day. So you want to be able to recognize that everything starts with a thought, and we're managing our thoughts, and we're actually engaging with our thoughts to a degree that we're actually the one in charge. We're the one in charge of those thoughts. So at any time we can insert a new thought. Yeah. And so it's really about understanding that and coming through on that around your business, because you will have times when, it's not exciting. You will have times when, things aren't working, but at the end of the day, we're there as your cheering squad as well. We're cheerleading you along. And I think that's a really big piece. Again, if I'd had that at times, I remember very early on, the money wasn't there. And, you go through these phases, and it's been able to say things will work out. It's having that abundance mindset. It's recognizing that everything is working out for you and not to you. So if this was working out for me, where is the lesson? Where is the gift? And you move through that. You may say, that client may say no, it might be a no for right now, or it could actually be, the best decision that ever happened, because that client could be the one that really takes too much of your time and doesn't give you the stuff you need. So, moving on to the next thing, and keeping on, moving through, keeping on progressing.
Yeah, Carol, I'm really curious about what you just said, because all of the things that you just referenced about you can rewire your neurology, which, as you and I both know, takes a fair amount of focus, and you have to do it consistently over time, but absolutely you can. That requires having a growth mindset. And the second thing, and then you said about being able to change your thoughts, and as you change your thoughts, you rewire your brain. All of those things that you just referenced, as you and I both know, being practitioners of consciousness and mindset, those require a certain level of consciousness for people even to be able to hear that kind of coaching feedback. So do you find that the people that come to you, I guess what I'm curious about is, do you feel like that thinking that we can change our mindset, that we can shift from being what I lovingly call a negaholic, somebody who's chronically negative, a negaholic, to someone who's, positive and upbeat and looking for that next positive thing? Do you feel like that thinking is becoming more pervasive in our world today? Well, you guys are in New Zealand, I'm in the United States. So let me just say, I'm a little challenged thinking I could just start off saying that to my clients and they would hear it without feeling criticized or without feeling like I just don't understand.
Well, we definitely do. We definitely do. I personally think the world is shifting. There is so much information out there now, and people are starting to wake up more and more to their own potential, to what it is, their self-empowerment, their deserving power, because, we all have deserving power, but not all of us step into that power. So it's actually been able to attract those people, and that's what we're doing now when we're having this conversation. If someone's resonating with it, they're going to want to connect and have more. And if they're not, that's okay too, But the more of us that are doing this kind of thing and bringing people around to understanding that they're this divine being that doesn't have to be their story, doesn't have to, live in a lack or any of that kind of thing, then, the more that we're switching on the light bulbs for everybody, I guess. And yeah, I do personally, I do feel that the world is changing. We are in a lot of flux, and so with that change and flux and things like that, and certainly COVID allowed people to reflect. It's the busy that stops us from reflecting, isn't it? Because we're when we go, we're not actually seeing. So if we stop for a minute and take in and unpack some of the things that are happening around us, then we can move into the next thing. What would you guys say? Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that, our kind of what you addressed, Carol, which is what we're trying to do is to be an example and draw people into our energy so that those people that we do who do want to come work with us are in that space. Very rarely do we get someone who, comes on board with us who is, isn't sitting in that space where they're open to learning and open to changing. So yeah, being the example as much as we possibly can is useful, along with people like you. And yeah.
I love that. I love that notion of being the example and really holding that for your clients. Yeah, Lucy.
And I guess another big point is really also surround yourself with people that really are thinking and breathing and doing what you want to do. Because we are living in a world at the moment, it's very fear-based, and like you said, lots of negativity going on. So we need to really be able to see, and we do have these endless opportunities, and we can't let the government or whoever tell us what we can't do. So it's really, we know in deep inside that we've got so much going for us. So really let that shine and be around people who support you and see that too.
So great. What do you guys find to be maybe this isn't a fair question, but we'll unpack it together. Which part of the business do you guys find to be more challenging or more intricate and difficult? The mindset piece and the beliefs and moving people into that positivity space and prosperity consciousness rather than lack consciousness, or the more strategic, all of the marketing and the funnels and the sales and they're all important in business. I think you can't really have a successful business without combining the two really well. You have to be an expert technician in whatever your field is, but you also have to really master yourself. Both for daily structure and doing all the things you need to do and not procrastinating and being productive and having that, kind of high level, high vibe consciousness. So which do you guys find in working with people that you find most vexing?
I think we're probably each going to have a different perspective on this, but
that's
so
cool.
I'm going to weigh in. I'm going to weigh in first because it's really obvious for me. So for me, what I find to be most difficult working with our clients and kind of guiding them to see is sorting out who they're going to serve specifically. Who is their niche? Because if they can't niche, they're never going to be effective with a marketing message. So that's, aside from, getting through the mindset piece, that's kind of why that's the next piece of the puzzle in the blueprint is, okay, who are you going to serve? Because we need to be really specific and really clear on that. And people are afraid to do that because they think they're going to be cutting themselves off from potential money. I can serve everybody. Yeah. Well, you can, but who do you want to build your business on? Who's going to be the best client for you?
Absolutely.
Ladies, any other?
Really, not only just, I want to serve everybody, but I don't know, generally yes. People are drawn to people like themselves. And it does make it a little bit hard to sort that out. And when you have a big message, particularly for people who are quote life coaches, it's like, I'm going to show you how to have a better life. But okay.
I want to do that for everybody. Yeah.
I want everybody to understand this. And I appreciate that passion. I really do, because I'm actually writing a book right now, that do-it-yourself self-coaching book, DIY self-coaching, or the ultimate self-coaching toolkit. I'm not quite sure of the title yet, but because I want to be one more voice of saying, you can do this. Coaching isn't magic. There are some real specific thought patterns, ways of changing your perceptions, understanding human condition, that if you apply them consistently over time, you can coach yourself. but it really does take that sense of, focusing in and understanding what it is. So I really appreciate that about the niche. In some ways, I've been in business 30 years and I think I still struggle with it. And I look at the people I serve, it's pretty broad.
Yep.
And I've always had a portfolio career. I'm fluent in sign language, in American Sign Language. So I have this whole arm of my business where I do corporate consulting and executive coaching for deaf people, using my fluency in American Sign Language. So I have this whole,
That's a very narrow niche of part of what you do. Yeah.
It is a very narrow niche. I've never wanted to make it my full business because I'm hearing. And I would rather empower deaf leaders to have the skill set that I have. And that's part of what I'm doing now is mentoring deaf leaders to have, I have a program called Transformational Leader as Coach. And I'm leading that in 2 different deaf companies right now.
Nice.
Yeah. So and then I have my whole spiritual self-empowerment and Conscious Living Summit, Conscious Living podcast. So yeah, that whole thing of niching down. Yeah, I could be your client because I kind of stake at it too.
Let's talk about that, Jackie. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about that off air. Lucy.
And I think another big part that I find the longer that I've been in business is really, it is your mindset. It is, you're only as strong as your mindset, and your business is never gonna, this is what Carol always says, it's never gonna outperform you. And you will always have these limiting beliefs that will hold you back. You can have the best strategy. If you don't believe in yourself and that you're worthy of this and that you can do it, you can have the best marketing, you can have the best anything, it will never actually work because you'll always be holding back and playing small. And I've seen that over and over. So and actually we've got a free training coming up next week, and it's all about confidence in business. It's really showcasing how does that work and how does that play into becoming that version of yourself that you can do it and you can achieve those goals and you can go for it. And no one's holding you back except yourself. So even with the niching, those are little excuses we're trying to hide behind, isn't it? It's, if we really unpack it, it's way deeper. And I think,
like to say, the universe doesn't give you what you want. The universe gives you what you believe.
Yeah. So true.
You will always receive back just the out picturing of your inner world of belief and emotions and thoughts. Your inner world will get out pictured and then be given back to you. So that's one of the things I say to my clients often. Well, this is really cool. I love the work that you guys are doing. So you work with clients from all over the world, I assume, not just New Zealand, right? So you're working online globally. And your ideal client is kind of a person who's open to consciousness and wanting to make a difference, awakening, and wanting to move into business from conception, idea to inception of their business in 90 days, right? That's awesome. So I know people are going to want to reach out to you guys, get in touch, talk to you all. So what's the best way for people to reach the 90-Day Divas?
Well, the best way is via our website. It's 90daydivas.com, 90 as 90, daydivas.com. And basically we've got podcasts, we've got blog posts, we've got free trainings coming up every now and again. So there's a lot happening. And we're on LinkedIn as well. So we are on most of the platforms. But I think the best way to find us is on our website.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing, and really want to thank you for your generosity, your sharing, and just being a thought partner today to have us think deeply about consciousness and how people can be conscious as they're starting a business rather than freaked out and overwhelmed with the help of the 90-Day Divas.
Thanks so much, Jackie.
With me today.
Thank you and thanks for what you do. It's amazing.
Thanks for being a light in the world that we so seriously need. So well done.
So much. And my mission is I'm a torchbearer for a vision of a world transformed. So thank you for seeing that light. I appreciate it. Thank you, ladies.